Hari So I chose a famous verse concerning the Father's Day from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna's famous Father's statement. And Prabhupada gives an amazing purport to this verse. So it's chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. Maybe it's not so confidential that Krishna is the Supreme Father, but that's the title of the chapter, and of course he talks about more confidential things. But perhaps that's the most confidential. So, text number 17, please repeat. Pitaham Asha Jagato Pitaham Asha Jagato Mata Data Pitamaha Mata Data Pitamaha Ejam Pavitram Omkara Vejam Pavitram Omkara
Vejam Pavitram Omkara
Ritsama Yajur Evacha Ritsama Yajur Evacha Idaham Asya Jagato Mata Data Pitamaha Ejam Pavitram Omkara Riksamaya Jaivacha Idaham Asya Jagato Mata Data Pitamaha Ejam Pavitram Omkara Riksamaya Jaivacha Idaham Asya Jagato Mata Data Pitamaha Ejam Pavitram Omkara Riksamaya Jaivacha Idaham Asya Jagato Mata Data Pitamaha Ejam Pavitram Omkara Riksamaya Jaivacha
Pitaham Asya Jagato Mata Data Pitamaha Ejam Pavitram Omkara Riksamaya Jajurvasha
Riksamaya Jaivacha.
Pitaham Asya Jagato
Mata Data Pitamaha
Ejam Pavitram Omkara Riksamaya Jaivacha Pitaham Asya Jagato Mata Data Pitamaha Ejam Pavitram
Vidyam Pavitram Omkaram
Riksamaya Jurevacha
Riksamaya Jurevacha
Pitahamasya Jagato
Pitahamasya Jagato
Mata Data Pitamaha
Makadata Pitamaha
Vidyam Pavitram Omkara
Vidyam Pavitram Omkaram
Riksamaya Jurevacha
Riksamaya Jurevacha.
Anyone else? All righty, so let's do the word for word. Pita,
Pita,
Father.
Father,
Aham,
Aham,
I.
I,
Asha,
Asha,
of this.
of this
Jagata,
Jagata,
universe.
universe,
Mata,
Mata,
mother.
mother,
Data,
Data,
supporter.
supporter,
Pitamaha,
Pitamaha,
grandfather.
grandfather,
Vejam,
Vejam,
what is to be known.
what is to be known,
Pavitram,
Pavitram,
that which purifies.
that which purifies,
Omkara,
Omkara,
the syllable Om.
the syllable Om,
Rik,
Rik,
the Rik Veda.
the Rig Veda,
Sama,
Sama,
the Sama Veda.
the Samaveda,
Yaju,
Yaju,
the Yajur Veda.
the Yajurveda,
Ava,
Eda,
certainly.
certainly,
Sha,
Sha, and
I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rik, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. Everybody repeat, please. I am the father of this universe,
I am Father of this universe,
the mother,
the mother,
the support,
the support,
and the grandseer.
and the grandsire.
I am the object of knowledge,
I am the object of knowledge,
the purifier,
the purifier,
and the syllable Om.
and the syllable Om.
I am also the Rik,
I am also the Rig,
Sama,
the Sama,
and the Yajur Vedas.
and the Yajurvedas.
Hey, Srila Prabhupada's divine purport.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Pretty powerful paragraph here. The entire cosmic manifestations, and it's plural there, the entire cosmic manifestations, moving and non-moving, are manifested by different activities of Krishna's energy. In the material existence, we create different relationships with different living entities who are nothing but Krishna's marginal energy under the creation of Prakriti. And Prakriti means nature, specifically this material nature. So under the creation of Prakriti, some of them appear as our father, mother, grandfather, creator, etc. But actually, they are parts and parcels of Krishna. As such, these living entities who appear to be our father, mother, etc., are nothing but Krishna. In this verse, the word Data means creator. Not only are our father and mother parts and parcels of Krishna, but the creator, grandmother, and grandfather, etc., are also Krishna. Actually, any living entity being part and parcel of Krishna is Krishna. All the Vedas, therefore, aim only toward Krishna. Whatever we want to know through the Vedas is but a progressive step toward understanding Krishna. The subject matter which helps us purify our constitutional position is especially Krishna. That subject matter. Similarly, the living entity who is inquisitive to understand all Vedic principles is also part and parcel of Krishna. In his sich is also Krishna. In all the Vedic mantras, the word Om, called Pranava, is a transcendental sound vibration, and it's also Krishna. And because in all the hymns of the four Vedas, Sama, Yaja, Rik, and Atharva, the Pranava or Omkara is very prominent, it is understood to be Krishna. So Krishna is everything. There are two philosophies, basically. One is monism, everything is the same. And one is personalism, that things are different. People are different. Life is different. Nothing's, in one sense, ever the same. So, our particular school of thought are personalists. And generally speaking, we're always refuting the monist conceptions on life. That everything is God, nothing is different from God. God is the same, we are all God. So the problem with that is, why are we all in illusion? Why are we all suffering? We're God, but we're suffering. And I know they in their own twisted logic, as Prabhupada would say, they have an explanation. But the fact of the matter is that God doesn't suffer. And from the personalist point of view, so not only are the personalists seeing everyone else as well as themselves, but they're also seeing God. God is also a person. So they see that this is an inconceivable, dynamic person, that everything has come from. Everything is created by him. He is completely transcendental. He's not suffering. No one in his world suffers. It's only all of us who are out of relation from him, have somehow ever lost our connection from him. And that's what the Vedas and yoga is all about, to connect with him again. The monists consider all that to be Maya, illusion. They say there's no personal God, there's no personal life like you find in this world. It's all just a cosmic light. It's all just Jyoti, light, Brahman Jyoti, spiritual light. Everything comes from the spiritual light. Everything goes back to the spiritual light. Everything is homogenized. Everything is just one. There is no individual life. But no, that's not true. There is a light, and one can attain to that light. But that's not our natural, Prabhupada uses the word constitutional position. That's unnatural. We're not meant to just be just to be some kind of particle of light. What do we do with a piece of light? Just exist eternally and feel some sort of shakti or bliss, some energy? No. Is an individual soul, just like we experience life here. It's unnatural for us not to have a capacity to think about things and to want to do things and to feel emotions and to live a life of happiness and joy. Not to be inert and just trying to find pleasure in that. So it's not natural for the individual soul to stay there. But that Jyoti is coming from Krishna. That Jyoti is Krishna's spiritual energy. To bring it down to our level, it's just his aura. or the light that emanates from him. But, just like we all have some influence, some effulgence. So Krishna's effulgence is so great that everything is situated in it. And it's called the Brahma Jyoti. All the spiritual planets in it, all the material planets in it, all the people in it, in the material world and spiritual world. Everything's in his Jyoti. And it's eternal. It's everlasting. Krishna says in the last verse of the 14th chapter, that I am the basis of that all-pervasive Brahman, of spiritual effulgence. So Krishna is the basis of it, but it's all-pervasive. It's you cannot extinguish it. It's forever great. Everything exists within it, but it's only Krishna's effulgence. So this is how Krishna is everything. Lord Chaitanya has our guru, our spiritual master of our school of thought. He is the, Prabhupada uses the nice word here, grandsire. He's the Pitamaha. He's the great-grandfather of our school of thought, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Achintya Beta Beta Tattva. Achintya inconceivable. Beta the same. Our beta different. Tattva, truth. The truth is different and the same, inconceivable. So, here Prabhupada says, Krishna is everything. But everything is not Krishna. Giri's not Krishna. If I went to Giri and asked him to paint my house, and to fix the floors, and to level it up, and to fix the chimney there, and to get the inside all straightened up, it's a mess. He would say, I don't have time, Prabhu. But Krishna is time. Krishna can do anything. Giri can't do anything. I mean, he can do something, but he can't do everything. So there's a difference. Giri is not Krishna. But Krishna is so swift, and he's so tricky, and he can do anything, to the extent that when Giri goes to bed tonight, he can put him somewhere else and he can be there. And he can be Giri. Nobody may know it, but Mother Kaivalya may all of a sudden feel, oh, Giri is nicer than ever. I never knew he was so wonderful. That's how great Krishna is. The pastime that exhibits this is when Krishna was playing with the boys, his friends in Vrindavan. He comes from the spiritual world, and he shows us on earth what he does, and everybody knows about that. Everybody in Vrindavan, they still talk about it. It's the whole world there of Krishna Bhakti, love for Krishna. Still exists. It's always been there. It's still there today. All these devotees. And they know about these pastimes. Prabhupada wrote about them in English for the whole world to hear. And George Harrison, the famous musician from Britain, he funded the book. Paid for Prabhupada, the printing of that book. So, it's described in one of the chapters, I forget which one, I think the 14th chapter. There are 90 chapters. So in the 14th chapter, Krishna is on the earth, but he has brought with him all of his friends. And they're doing what they always do. They're out having fun, and they have some responsibility that makes it even more fun. They're taking care of the calves for the family. They have all the younger cows and bulls are all with them, and they're taking care of them. And they're having a good time playing. So sometime after lunch, the boys go off to find the cows because the cows have wandered off. And in this world, there are different managers, just like there are managers in our countries. There are different administrators that are in charge of different departments of the country, of the state, of the county, of the city, the town. There's all sorts of people we either elect or appointed who, manage things. Believe it or not, that's how the universe works. There are actually managers that are managing everything in the universe. modern science wouldn't lead us to believe that. They just think that's a matter of faith, as though it's not a matter of faith to believe what they say when it comes to things like that. So, these friends of Krishna, they're out looking for the cows, having fun. And this person who is the universal engineer, he steals all the cows and calves so the boys can't find them. He's real powerful in this universe. Krishna's friends are just playing like Krishna's friends. They're not like out here challenging people, trying to be the governor of the state or, the Lord of the universe. They're just having fun with Krishna. So they're not exhibiting any sort of special potency that they may have from being spiritual beings. They're just playing with Krishna. So this Brahma, he puts them into sleep and he takes them away. Just like he did with the cows and the calves, he takes the boys away. So Krishna is waiting there. Where are they? And they don't come home. Or they don't come back to him. So he's thinking, we got to go home. And none of them have come back. Of course, he knows what's going on, but it's all his pastime. He's enjoying some leela or some pastime. So then he decides that I better expand myself into them. Because otherwise their parents are going to feel real anxiety. And, I don't want to just go and, break into what Brahma has done. That's the universal engineer is called Brahma. So he says, at this time, I don't want to just, disturb what he has done. I think this will be a good pastime. So I will expand myself as all of the boys and all of the calves as well. And we will go home. So he does this. And he acts like that for a whole year. A whole year, he's all of these cowherd boys, and he's all of the calves. And all of the cowherd people, the parents, they're loving their children more than what they have ever loved them before. And the same for the calves. The mother cow and the father bull, they're loving these particular calves. It's said that these calves had gotten a little bit bigger. And so they were grazing in a field below their mothers who were feeding new calves. Because, the mother, she had just like a human mother, they have a child, and then they can have another child. So all these cows had already had another child or another calf, and they were feeding them. But when they looked down the hill and saw those calves that Krishna had turned himself into, they couldn't resist leaving the little calves behind and running down the hill just to go lick and love their form, the calves from the past pregnancy. That's how much they loved him, because those calves were Krishna. And Krishna was just enjoying himself with all of them. So Krishna can be whatever he wants, because we are all his energy. In that sense, I am Krishna, because I am just his energy. I'm a very small, little bitty example of Krishna. But if he wants, he can take my place even, just like he can take your place. He doesn't usually do that. Instead, he just kind of helps us. He's always helping us. Krishna says in the Gita that he's the source of all remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So sometimes Krishna helps us by helping us to forget something that's traumatic, or something that's just causing us pain. He helps us maybe to forget, something to a certain degree that causes us a lot of trauma. At the same time, he gives us knowledge. He helps us to remember things. He gives us knowledge about things that we don't understand. He shows us where we can find out about it. Brings us to a person who can tell us something we need to know. He gives us knowledge. He's the source of knowledge and remembrance and forgetfulness. So Krishna generally is just helping us. But for the sake of Leela, or for the sake of doing something, he may even act through us. Like there was one devotee who had become extremely lusty. And he was madly in love with this prostitute. And he would go out of his way to go see her. Great struggle. It would cost him a lot of money. And one night there was a big storm. He somehow ever still crossed the river, still found his way to a house. He climbed up a rope onto a second-story window. The rope was a snake. And so when the prostitute sees everything that he's done, her name was Chintamani, she speaks to him. She says something like, if only you cared so much about Krishna and made such an endeavor, you would be in Vaikuntha. So at that time, his guru spoke through her. So in the same way, Krishna can speak through anyone if he wants, or he can act through anyone if he wants. And so at that time, that devotee's heart was affected, and he went off and became a pure devotee. So, Krishna can do things like that because it's his creation. He is really the father. We all puny fathers. Giri may have 2 sons. Vedanta may have 2 daughters. I may have some son and a daughter. And Madhava may have some sons, And Vishnu has a daughter. But Krishna has unlimited sons and daughters. The whole Christian world prays to the Supreme Father in the name of the Son. They see one son, but a father who has unlimited sons. He has unlimited sons, but there's one son that somehow ever, this is their theology that links them all. We would consider him like the pure devotee, or like the bona fide guru who can link the disciple to the Father, to God. That's how, we see him. So we don't have to get into a theological debate. It's the same Father. It's Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Father. So, that was actually common knowledge. But our dear friends from the 17th and 18th century, they so much misrepresented it. They never let people know that the Vedas say Krishna is God, Vishnu is God. No, they say, no. Brahma and Shiva and Krishna, all the same God. And then they would maybe present a monistic view, and then they would say things like it's all polytheistic. They worship many gods. There is no one God. There's just a bunch of gods. Just like the Greeks and the Romans, they would say the same thing. The Greeks and the Romans, they just worshipped a bunch of imaginary gods. They made up all these stories. And they would say that about the Vedas. Because after all, they don't know who God is. They just know who Emmanuel is. Jesus is the Roman name of Emmanuel. That's his Hebrew name. So all we've learned has just been coming down, practically speaking, from the Roman Empire. And, early Christian history and Jewish history in our Western world. Of course, there's all, the influence of the Greek philosophers was as potent as the Christian religion. So, they have an extensive, elaborate network of academics that today is including a lot of the knowledge like we find in Bhagavad Gita. And we find that Lord Chaitanya's movement is rampantly growing all over the world, including the Western world. And Prabhupada has urged every Indian to help this movement. Because otherwise, the people in the Western world are commonly called Malechas and Yavanas. Why? Why are they called Malechas and Yavanas? It's not that it's a particular race. They're called Malechas and Yavanas because of their commitment to killing cows in Brahminical culture. So in the same way, there's many Malechas and Yavanas in India. So the whole culture will be stamped out by cow killing and killing of Brahminical culture. It will be completely wiped out. But there's a rise by the grace of the Lord, by the grace of Krishna, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya. People are understanding that, sincere people who wanted to worship and love God. That God is a person. He does have a name. His name is Krishna. And Krishna has many, many pastimes. And he has a whole world that we can learn about and understand. And we can all become his devotees just by hearing about him. Just by hearing about him. We can develop our love for Krishna. We can understand our soul. And we can very easily give up our material body in the course of time when it gets old and sick, or even before. And we can go back home to Godhead. Otherwise, nobody knows where they're going at the time of death. People don't know where they're going. They're just hoping. They're hoping they go to heaven. They're hoping Jesus will save them if they're Christian. They're hoping Allah or Muhammad will save them if they're Muslim. And the Buddhists, they're just hoping to go to heaven too. Because most of them, don't really concentrate on the nirvana, that the nothingness. They don't want to become nothing. They want to love their ancestors, most of them. Most of them are always worshiping their ancestors and praying to Buddha to go to heaven. Most of the lay people. So everybody's, they're looking for something better in life. And Lord Chaitanya's movement is offering transcendental knowledge. And, people from India who have been fortunate enough to be able to read the Sanskrit or to read it in different Indian dialects because they're so close, and to have understood it from the time they're little, Prabhupada says they should make their life successful by becoming Krishna's devotees, and then they should do something to support this movement to help everybody's life become successful. Because it's very difficult in the Western world where people are naturally malechas and yavanins. People look at cowboy movies and those aren't nice cowboys. Krishna's a different kind of cowboy. So how in the world will we ever make malechas and yavanis devotees of Krishna? That's the power of Krishna. All the devotees have ever done following Prabhupada's instructions was to go out and chant Hare Krishna and to give people Krishna books. And people have become devotees because that's the power of Krishna. It's like a window. It's like on a computer. You get a window. You have a window here and a window there and a window there. And sometimes people say, I have a window to do this. I have a little time to do this now. So there's a window whereby people can become Krishna conscious. And once we get a little Krishna consciousness, we should be concerned that all of our brothers and sisters are suffering in the world. Every day, all we hear about in the news is people suffering. And we have our own experience of suffering and people around us suffering. So we have to be able to give people Krishna so that they can get out of suffering. That's the real panacea, or the real way to put an end to suffering. Medical science will never put an end to suffering. It will only help us to mitigate it through pain control. Sometimes that's abused, isn't it? But, basically they mitigate it until we leave the body. And then they don't know. That's not that field. They say you should have went to church. We don't know. So, we have to give people Krishna. As much as they will take. Everybody's going to take a little bit. And we may put it into their language, they may be devoted Christian or something, then we can just encourage them. Be devoted to God, God's the same for everyone. Just like the sun's the same, God is the same for everyone. So you be devoted, and God will have mercy on you. And God does have mercy. So, it's our job, to help the suffering people of the world. So therefore we encourage everybody to help this Sankirtan movement. It's a movement that's concentrating on, intellectually as well as practically, like we're protecting cows here. That's very practical. We feed them, we take care of them for their whole life. And intellectually, we're doing all these courses, we make all these books, we go out, we talk to communicate with people, and we discuss these things with them. In this way, our movement is helping the world to become Krishna conscious. And the proof of the matter is that you have a little bitty nothing, practically nothing. In 1966, it was nothing. Nothing. It was nothing. It was just a never, registered organization with a few people. In one little city in the whole world. And now all of a sudden you have this huge, gigantic movement. Just growing every day. And, it's not a political movement. It's a spiritual movement. And it's not trying to make a monopoly of religion, just trying to encourage people in their God consciousness, their Krishna consciousness. So, that's my thought. Krishna is the Supreme Father. Krishna is ultimately everything, and we are Krishna's little part and parcel. So when we have our Father's Day, we should recognize that Krishna is the Supreme Father. And without Krishna, there is absolutely there's absolutely nothing. Even energy comes from him. So Lakshmi comes from him. Durga comes from him. Everything comes from him. So, our worship is of the Supreme Person. So everything has come from him, including us, and we are his devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so can't read that clock all the time. I think it says 1:30, huh? Yeah, so it's the Prasada time. Maharani won't be mad at us now if we go out. She gets mad when we hold up the flash. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much.